You have offices in the US, Ireland, Dubai, India. Why did you choose Dubai?
Now your brain is so smart that, okay, I'm not going to buy this because that's going to deviate from the plan that I had.
The brain guides you.
The brain guides you in this point. So that's a very simple formula. And I've used this now. We encourage our clients to give us ownerships and in return for discount or let's say investment that we do. And that has worked really well. So I've noticed the difference that when I have a software developer that is working on a client project and they get ownership of that project, they are in the office way more. They work with a way more care.
Hey guys, today I've got somebody very fascinating. This could be many podcasts with him. I think you're going to have a lot of fun. You're going to go away with a lot of inspiration and a lot of learning, because my guest today, he's somebody who owns multiple properties, over 40 properties across many countries, runs and leads a team of 100 plus employees. And he started this all, I'm not going to say scratch, but he definitely knows, and he's been through the earlier years of the grind. I want to welcome Twana Daniel today, and I want you to learn more about from his own mouth. Okay, welcome. Thanks very much for doing this. I really appreciate it. Welcome. I want to ask you, Twana, look, you own 40 plus properties across many countries. So we are talking Ireland, US, Romania, Dubai, and you lead 100 plus man team, which in itself is, in my opinion, it's a lot of work. But here's what fascinates me. You don't take a salary. You don't take a salary. How did you, so this is the thing, a lot of people want to not take a salary because they have this financial freedom goal in their mind. I'm not propagating financial freedom, but it looks like you have it. So let's talk about that. How do you reach that level? What inspired you? How did you get there?
I think it all starts with having a drive, a hunger, but also a set of satisfaction that you have for delivering and achieving what you have encounter for. And I think for me and for our company and for all of our clients is always has been that when we focus on something, we really put on full focus mode on this and set very clear set of milestones and achieving on those, and create a really strong muscle momentum when you have these small wins, as they call it, so these wins throughout, and that keeps you in a very sort of motivated state, because it's just yourself and then the company and then and so on. So yeah, I think with that, maybe I can go into more depth later, but definitely that is something that, making sure that you are winning and making sure that you have little successes, very important, because if you're one person that have started something and immediately failed, and then the same person that has started have had a little bit success, a little bit taster by having the right advisor in place, by having the right investment, by having the right product that you happen to pick, the right industry, that gives you momentum. Even if you've got many more struggles, you've got much stronger muscle strength in that point, because you know that you have you achieved some milestone. So that has been very important. And I'd say maybe luck can play a good part. I think mentorship, having support, taking expertise from others. If someone knows something more than me, like in the real estate industry, when I come to you, says, okay, you know more than me, I am just there listening, because if you're the expert, doesn't matter. I want to listen in, I want to learn. And that is very important attitude.
You know what I heard from you was like the stuff that's super basic for people to know, right, but I'm not sure if they do. So you said, have goals and milestones, then be super focused.
Right.
And then enjoy the little success and celebrate it. I want to ask you an honest question. You're a mentor to a lot of the employees in your team. Right. You've got 150 employees almost. Do you think a lot of people, what percentage people do you come into who actually set goals, maintain focus, and are very determined to go after those goals?
I would safely say more than 50% of our company is the mini version of me in some way or form.
But that's your company, because you are the leader, therefore you attract those people.
Right.
Let's talk about the general audience out there.
Right.
Do you reckon that you come across a lot of people who are actually focused in that way? Or do you find a lot of people are not focused and they're kind of going through life on sleep mode or dream mode?
Yeah.
Or What's the other mode? It's like, it's kind of like just go through it.
Yeah, I think definitely, unfortunately, there's more people than I would have hoped. In my circle, I see a lot of people that is focused.
Right.
But at the same time, there's too many people that we have that we just don't do these basic things. And to me, this is really simple, If you don't define it super clear, what is it that's going to make you happy? Like, what is the one thing you achieve by the end of this month that if you did that and you're like, okay, well, I did really good there. Okay, so let's say you establish that. Okay, how do you track that?
Right.
The simplest way is that you do a simple audit. Simple audit every Sunday, review, okay, how did I do on this and this and this? Personal, business, health, wealth, every single dimension that is important to you, just do a simple audit on this. And if you got this little organization in place and you track this on a weekly basis, that you audit yourself, you audit it then on a daily basis, then you have a direction to go to. Now, is that going to give you success immediately? Absolutely not. But that's going to give you way more chance than if you don't do it. What is the alternative of you not doing that? Well, the alternative is you're going to be lost. And that is very, very risky. If somebody wants something, if you want to achieve that, that is really critical. So for me, everything I do is I take it into like a technical approach.
Right.
And the technical approach is, okay, this is a problem. So what is the best way of my chances to solve that problem? Well, the best way is that I need to see it in front of my eyes. I need to keep auditing myself on a weekly basis. And then I see it at the end of the month. And if I'm hitting them on all these dimensions, then I know I'm going the right directions. And make it small wins, because these small wins are very important to get really strong momentum. And this momentum matters.
I think that's a very good takeaway. The small wins need to be celebrated. For a lot of people, they're waiting for the big thing to happen before they can really relax. But it's the small that gets you going. So bless you. That's a very good point. I want to share with the audience something you shared with me some time ago. Like when you were a child, you worked very hard 7 to 8 months to save for a bicycle that you wanted to buy. So in some ways, while that might have been tough for a child to do, in some ways, it is a blessing because you get to learn that work ethic. Right. And how did that shape you as you've grown your empire and you've grown your property portfolio?
I think one of the major lessons that I got from this, and this is like we all have this childhood memories, and then we also have this imagination flavors would expand on that. And so that's really important to keep on that. So for me, there are many that I can highlight, but there's one specific that you're just mentioning, is that I really wanted to have a bicycle because in my neighborhood, others had a bicycle and I didn't have. And I come from a family where, my dad is very good with numbers, and it was really good with a very strong work ethic. But he made sure that, hey, look, you need to help your mother, and your mother need to give you a tick box until the summer. And that summer was coming in. It was like over six more months before that summer comes. So every day I have to come in the afternoon, help my mom. And she said, yes, you did well today. And then because I could see there's something waiting for me on the other end, I was very, very motivated to achieve that. And then at the end of the period, okay, I worked for that for over 6 months. Then officially I got the bicycle. So
what color was it?
It was actually black with some stripes of red in it.
Okay, bless you.
Yes.
Did you park it in your bedroom that first day or no?
I can tell you that much. This bicycle, I looked after it so well.
Okay.
And I've had it for a very long time after that. And this was a really strong foundation for me that, hey, look, at the age of such a young age, that I had to learn through that practice.
Nice.
And often what we do now, and especially in Dubai, from what I've seen, everything we want is fast. People want to get success really fast. And people don't understand that a lot of people that come here, so there's the 1%ers that come here, and you don't know what they have done in the past.
Oh my God, you hit something very... That's so true.
Right.
That 1%
Yes.
worked 25 years somewhere else.
Yes.
So you see them when they're here, bless them.
Right.
They have the Rolls, the Lambos, whatever the case might be.
Yes.
But you don't know their past story,
That's right.
where they came up. Go on, sorry.
Yes.
Please.
So I think it's very important, although it's really good that you could have role models all around you, but at the same time, don't get sidetracked. And so what I mentioned earlier was, when I often have one-to-ones with some of the core individual members, then I'm like, okay, let's look at it in 6 months. They're like, how did it go? And then they're like, yeah, I think we did well. I think I did this. I think this was really good. I think, and then when I open up the notepad, looking at what was the achievement planned, when it's on paper, it's so obvious. Hey, you achieved this, you achieved this. He doesn't even know it. And then he's like, actually looking at this, yes, I'm actually, we did this and I'm doing this and I achieved this already and I've already did this and I've already did this.
Nice.
So having it in writing, it's really important because we often forget. And even I had that, where often I would have said like, okay, by the end of this year, this is the accomplishment that I'm going to have on these pillars. And in my early days, I would already be in it and I've already have it, but I don't even know about it. So what I've done in the last, say, many years was like I document it. So when you look at it on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, and then a yearly basis, it's very obvious. And it's just, they're just a simple, and luckily today we've got so many of these productivity notepad, tools out there that you really can do this really well.
Do you encourage people to use those or do you prefer pen and paper?
So I use a hybrid approach.
Okay.
My hybrid approach is, there's a lot of studies on this. That's obviously writing it in the morning activate various part of your muscles, which has a huge benefit in comparison just digitally. Even though for me, somebody being a tech guru, I like the digital, but at the same time, for the key points that you want to manifest, writing it down has a huge benefit. So for me, at the simplest form, mornings I will write it down every morning religiously. There's no negotiation in that. Afternoon I read. And the evening I read it.
Okay.
So whatever that I need to accomplish for this year, that broke down into this month and then this week. And within my notepad, I have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and I've got the weekend.
Okay.
And within there, I've got my tasks, and within there, I have my achievement that I want to break it down. And so in the mornings, there are key things that you want to accomplish within that week, within that month, that is getting handwritten. The rest of it, in the afternoon, I read it. In the evening, I read it. Very simple formula. That has worked really well for me. Yeah.
I want to stay with this. I want to ask you again because people would find this instructional. So you're not writing your ultimate vision and goals for the full year or for the next 20 years daily. You're writing the stuff that you want to achieve this month daily.
Yes.
Is that what you're doing?
Correct.
So you're bringing your brain to focus on that part.
Yes. So let's say if I want to buy an apartment, let's say you want to save up, you want to buy an apartment in Dubai. So, well, how do you buy an apartment? Well, first you need to save up money. Okay. So by the end of this year, I have achieved, I've purchased one apartment that is this approximate. Okay. Now I define that, right? Okay. So I've got 5 months left. I've got August till December. So in those 5 months, what I will do then is I will simply break it down that what are the macro steps I need to take? Well, macro steps, I need to save money. How much I need to save? Well, I need to save 30%, 40%, 50% of my income, whatever, if you're income earner. And then that goes in there, right? And so this is one of the things that you will write every day about the saving because you got to hit on that. So the next time round you go in a Dubai mall and you see a nice fancy thing, you're not going to buy it because you wrote it down in the morning and you also read it twice throughout the day. Now your brain is so smart that, okay, I'm not going to buy this because that's going to deviate from the plan that I had.
The brain guides you.
The brain guides you on this point. So that's a very simple formula. And I've used this now for everything, like literally everything. You see the company, 150 people, 40 plus numbers. You're throwing numbers there. So this every single thing happened. It started with this. Now my numbers will be bigger, larger goals, but the same technique applies into breaking it down. Yep.
That's how you're maintaining discipline day in, day out.
Yes.
Because what you do day in, day out is what you get that month. Then that's what you get that first year. That's a lot of focus. But I have a question for you. So in the earlier part of your career, you worked at a multinational company, but you're very disciplined. And before you actually left from there, so you grew your property portfolio while you were still working and saving.
Yes.
And before you left them, you were making 3 times in your salary.
That's right.
Just from the property portfolio. So walk us through how you went from corporate employee to having a property portfolio that is giving you 3 times your salary while you're still working there.
Yes.
Because for a lot of people, that's like a mini dream that they'd like to achieve today in Dubai.
Yeah. I believe this is possible for anyone, right? And I would also give this advice to all my close people, and I would say to all the audience here is that because the world we're living in now, where we earn a lot more money than we did 15 years ago. So that means that puts you in a huge advantage. So if you're working in a job and if you save your income as much as possible, I was saving a lot of my income, over 50% easily. And you have to also understand that you got to do it for a period of time. So before working, this was before my time, let's say in IBM Ireland, I used to work for another company called Exchequer Software. And they're a very nice boutique company, but a lot smaller. So then when I start working for IBM, that was my first thing is I didn't start from the bottom. I start right in the middle tier, middle to upper tier. Now, that would be harder if you started from the bottom.
Right.
But you can still do it. So then the first thing is making sure your starting point really critical to gives you an advantage. Then once you do that, you just live with a spending less money. So you save that money and you leverage the loan here in the scenario and also leverage your skills. And that's something that is very important. Like how can you add more value to the property that you're purchasing? So in Ireland, in UK, these are all like houses that you purchase, right? We don't have as many fancy apartments like here. Well, we do, but it's not at the same level. And your options of taking finances, it's always through mortgage. So, and banks love lending to employees, right? They just love it. They don't like to give to company owners the same way. So I took advantage of that. And I stumbled on a bunch of different books, which was talking a lot about this. And the first thing is, somebody knew more than me about this department. So I just study it. I didn't question it. So it's very important if someone tells you something and one person listens to it and doesn't just goes out in the other direction, another person really, really listened to it, then that person has a huge advantage.
Right.
If I will go back, my number one thing would be for the audience. If someone tells you something that they know more, just really, really don't question it. Just do it. Just really do it. So my thing was just save money while working in IBM, then purchase a property. When you save money, you suddenly have good savings. Over there it's easier because you only need 10%. Now what happened is then, what I would do then is I would add value. So I would go in and I would build another room. I build another side extension.
I say this to people.
Right. So now suddenly what happens is it may not make a lot of benefit when you sell it, because from selling it can, but there's obviously volume. But on a rental yield, it's huge. Right. Suddenly you actually have a lot more space for rent. Same thing goes, then you go do it number 2 and you do it number 3. So what happens is once you do your first property, so now if you're living already, at like 40-50% of your income, you can then already pretty much you're not paying rent. So now that goes down. And then the second one becomes so much easier. Now, when you get into this mindset of buying properties, you're not going to go buy a car on a loan. You're not going to go to a shopping spree buying, because that's not your mission. Your mission is how many properties you want to buy so you can be financially free, so you can actually work on whatever you are, that you get passively. So this is all kind of chain. So I think if your number one focus to me is like, if I was to work today as an employee, my number one focus would be, how quickly can I make myself fully independent from this job? And you know what happened? Once I started accumulating enough income through the job, I was a lot better employee. Because I didn't leave IBM. I will just continue.
Right. You're much better because you're driven for your goals.
Yes.
Which might not be the multinational corporation's goals, but you're still trying to put in the best so you can get the promotion, the bonus, and so on and so forth. Right. That's very interesting.
And when you start thinking about the money all the time, you start thinking about what can I do to help my company grow? Because remember, the more irreplaceable you're going to make yourself, the more money you can demand.
Right.
Your job, if you're working in a job, is to be so good that you are going to get so highly paid. But you got to remember, your employer always pays you by your contribution values.
Yeah.
So if you make yourself irreplaceable, you can demand more money.
I have a question for you now. Yes, you want to get that property. Yes, you want to build that portfolio. And you were very disciplined because you pointed this out. You said, then you're not going to buy that car, right? But then what do you say to that person who says like, okay, he's saving for a property. He wants the property. But my friends are going on a cruise, right? They've all moved to a better neighborhood maybe.
Right.
I do want to get married as well. For like maybe for some people it could be like, you know, I don't think that marriage is necessarily an expense. Like there could be a lot of blessings in that as well. So maybe we take marriage, but the cruise, the car, the watch, and then you live only once. So why wait till I get 40 properties? I want to go on that cruise today. So how do you either balance the fun part, or how do you delay the fun part?
So I think for me, I would say my advice for that for the audience is, if you have a circle of friends that they are doing these things, to go to the cruise, to go to the nice things, it's going to be way more difficult. As I said, go back to the technical approach and make it as easy as possible. Find circle of people that are humble, that are simple, that are easy, and they're happy with going on a weekend without it doesn't costing so much. So that helps that you don't need to do that. And you cannot spend lavishly and then at the same time expect to get this. It doesn't work like this.
From what you've said, I've taken another answer from that as well. Because if the guy says, yeah, but I can't give up my friends, or I can't give up going on vacations, then the answer perhaps for that person and some of my friends would be, well, then perhaps having a property empire goal is not for you as well. Right. So you can go into your 40s with lovely experiences, and you may have traveled 100 countries. Good for you. Yeah. And maybe then building a property portfolio is not for you. So you are making a choice.
Yes.
You can't have both. Like you can't burn the candle at both ends. You can't be partying at till 4 a.m. and be the best employee or the best business owner. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think the circle definitely matters, but really important. But the most important that I see is that if you really want this, then you're going to set your days and weeks accordingly, and you're going to get joy out of other things. And the spending, the way about spending is, people like, you know, you also asked me about this, is it's simple that you just buy what you need. If you just apply this technique, very simple. Like you don't need 2 watches. I have 1 watch, that's it. I don't need to, I wake up, it's the same watch. So if you just, this one I've got multiple of this. When this one, when this breaks, I get another one. Same for this. I went in the shop and I bought 5 or 6 the same. Fits well, perfect, right? So you buy it because you need it, and that's it, right? Yeah. And then I think this is a very simple technique. Yeah, okay. And sometimes we get into this thing where you need multiple of things, but really, do you really need it? You know, so.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. The need is defined by the individual and in their brain. Right. Do you need a Rolex? Nobody needs a Rolex. Right. Sorry, guys. like what does a Rolex really do today? Tells you the time, but then your phone tells you the time as well. So then there's a lot more to it, like the status, the investment angle, and then the status, the symbol, the dream. Like people grew up wanting to own a Rolex and so on and so forth. But I think I'm going to link this back to what you said. Have your goals and look at them every day. And you know what would happen, Twana? This is my opinion, that if you looked at your goals every day, and if those goals were really important, you would self-select. If your friends are going on a cruise that costs $20,000, you would self-select to say, guys, I can't do this. I'm not willing, because that $20,000 is a down payment to your next property.
True.
Coming back to your, so you're an investor in startups as well. You've invested in 70 plus startups, and you go pre-seed and you provide engineering capacity and marketing.
Yeah.
Some of these, it's the numbers are quite good, like $700,000 plus. I want to ask you, what's the investment philosophy behind this? And then how do you spot the gaps that others you feel might be missing?
Yeah. So if I go back a little bit, within the software development side, being part of and built so many startup applications all the way from scratch, take it to the market, deploy it, and then helping those clients. So we see a huge pattern in what works, what doesn't work. And sometimes some founders are very good in certain areas, and there are some weaknesses in other areas. So we fill in those gaps. And when we see an opportunity there, where often they need, obviously, engineering capacity, software developers, designers, but that is just everywhere, right? You can find this anywhere.
Yes.
So, but then goes beyond that, where okay, so now you built the first version of the product. How well is the first version of the product is from a decision making into what features should be in that bucket list. So that's where we bring value. Then we take it to the market and take it to the market that we start deploy this to specific regions, specifically in specific cities, type of user audience, whether it's a B2C or B2B, and really making sure that we generate revenue very quickly, right? So these are areas that we have specialty in. And so what we do, what we provide when we invest in these early startups is we provide the software developers, right? That will build the product. Sometimes they already have a product and we just complement to the existing team. We then add a marketing team. We then take our management team to actually also go in to make sure we make the right sequence of decisioning for how this get deployed. And then we put funds in place for other things that needs to be where you do need to spend money. Mm-hmm. So, and in return, we obviously take ownership of the company. So we take, and this is our selection criteria usually. My number one thing is always based on the founder, right? The personality. Like, who is this person? Because, like, it's very important, whoever you're investing in is the people you're dealing with. And if the founder is it's a really nice person that's easy to get on with, it's very important criteria, because we're not an investor to say, here's $2 million, we invest in that and then we just come back, looking for quarterly brochure update. No, we are in the business. We are going to make sure the business succeeds. And what happens is I often get inside and I realize this business is not going to scale and there's a problem here, there, and then we tell them very quickly, this is what you need to do these, let's come back in 3 months from now, and then we are going to get involved. You're not ready for someone like us to come in, right? So and I think that's been very very successful. We've invested in a number of products so far and use the same technique, also help some of our core individual client products too, right? Okay. Because our number one mission as a company is to make sure that the companies that we invest in, that they succeed through money we put in, time of engineers, marketing departments, and knowledge that we have. And then for clients is to make sure the client will succeed by giving them the same, but they're paying for it. But in return, we give that to make sure the client succeeds. Because you see, if you think like this, that if your client makes more money, then they're going to have more money to spend. Yeah. If the client is broke, where are they going to cut?
I have a question here.
Right.
A client walks into your office with $1 million.
Okay.
Has a great plan on a product that has a great idea that he or she wants to build, but you know that this person has no idea how to execute it, and that he or she will probably not go far with this product.
Right.
Will you still take the money and build it, or will you deny the opportunity and say, listen, I think that this idea maybe the idea is even not good.
Yeah.
But they've got the $1 million.
Yes.
Daddy's money, their money, friends' money.
Yeah.
Whatever the case is. Would you still do it, or would you say, like, listen, we're not going to do this for you guys?
So the truth answer is I'm 100% confident that I will be able to convey to the other end that we are working in the best interest, that I will showcase to them that, hey, look, this is what you need to do with this money. So on that basis, our ratio being almost like 100%, right? Mm-hmm. So they will not come to this. If somebody comes in and says, here's $1 million I have for this idea, they also open to listen because they're smart people. If they raise $1 million or they have $1 million to spend, they're smart people. So they will listen to other smart professionals. And since I always focus on the client, so I think that problem get itself resolved as long as you do what's best interest for the client.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about, so you've got the number one car selling site in Iraq.
That's right.
Because the audience needs to know you operate across many countries. So Iraq,
yes,
Dublin, Ireland, Iraq, USA,
yes,
Dubai, India.
Yes.
And you've got some great products. So you've got this number one car selling site, and then you've got a property portal in Ireland for which you've received like millions of dollars offers that somebody is looking to buy it, but you're not selling.
No.
How did you get to this, and why are you not selling?
Yeah, I think maybe I'll go back into the property, the car buying and selling. Even the story of that is interesting. Into this product there's also an investor involved, right? So the investor who came on board, how did I convince the investor to invest? This is a long time ago, right? This product is built more than 10 years.
The car selling website.
So I've took on the idea and I said, okay, let's build this in Ireland. And this particular investor, I showed him what I'm planning to build for Ireland.
Right.
But I never asked him for money. But he knew me close. So my advice for the audience, if you are really good and if you've got good, circle of people, and instead of go asking for money, just ask for the advice. Just say, hey, look, I'm building this. Here's what I'm doing. Here's all the research I've done. Here's what I'm going to put together. I've saved up this money. This is what I'm going to do. What are your thoughts? And if you're talking to the right person on the other side, that person, without you saying anything, they're like, okay, I'm investing in this.
Mm-hmm.
So I never forget this, but I literally was talking about here what we're going to build this in Ireland. And at the time in Ireland, there was already a very big competitive, right?
Okay.
They're huge. And this person says, okay, look, what if I will invest this into this, but you build it and I'll take 50% ownership and I'll put all the money. Now, this is a long time ago.
Right.
Twana version, 15 years plus,
okay.
right? So at this point, this is where that was the first investor. People are today, they're like, oh, I find it really hard to find investors. It's very easy. If you have a product that if you have a very clear way direction, study your product, the investors are everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's on the property and on the buying and selling. Now, in the property industry, I enjoy the property industry very much, and we understand it. And also being, a property owner, I've kind of faced to a lot of difficulties. And we also have a lot of people in the company who are renting. And the rental market, specifically in Ireland, is very difficult, really difficult. So, and we're engineers, we're like, okay, we gotta need to, build a product that really solves this for people that are looking to rent. So we built this product, which is right now the fastest growing property listing platform in Ireland at the moment. For the audience, it's called Findco.ie. Okay. And not only that, we have
Findco.ie.
Findco. So Findco.ie. And
you know when you say it with an Irish accent. So that's why it's difficult to understand.
Yeah.
Findco.ie.
Got it. Yes. Got it. I mean, I've spent more than 20 years in Ireland. Yeah. So maybe that definitely helps. So I think, what is it right now is, our biggest strength is providing the solution at rapid speed. Think of us as like, I think for a lot of the audience, think of us as like the Revolut version of property listing.
Right.
And then the traditional ones that's available there, it's more like the legacy, platforms. We were at this conference not long ago, and we were talking to a lot of estate agents over there, right? A lot of brokers. And they're like, hey, we have a problem. The problem we have, we need more leads.
Right.
So, okay, no problem. We go back to the dev house. They're like, okay, let's go back, get to the lab. Within 3 weeks or so, we built in. And right now we have Ireland's best property calculator, lead generator that we're giving to those estate agents. And so agents get those leads because that's the problem. So,
right.
And we took it one step further. The listings were getting very expensive. Same in Dubai, right?
Yeah.
To list a property, it's very expensive. So I think for us, we're trying to...
It's more expensive than it needs to be, perhaps.
Yes, it is.
Maybe not very expensive, but yeah. Like I always think like, why? Right? But because I'm on the paying side.
Yes.
On this.
Yeah, so I think that's on the property listing. We also have another platform which is for tenants,
right? To
help the tenants. There's another company called Tenantin.ie, which is also big. We're launching this also in Dubai, in the UAE.
Nice.
We're launching this in various different countries, but we did a pilot release now in Ireland, and it's we've got over 5,000 plus tenants already on this. And that's going very well.
That's good. Why are you not selling? So if somebody offered you $10 million, $20 million, which you've had those offers, I don't want to disclose any numbers, but why are you not selling?
I'm having fun making money too. Why would you sell something that you're having fun doing it? And also for us, it's all about like, I can see it, right? So I can see the growth that's been growing.
Right.
You have to look at any product you build. Okay, how much money you've generated? how many users you have. And if you see a growth month on month, multiple X, why would you sell it? You're in a very early stages. I know if I sell today, it's going to be at a much lower that's going to be 2 years from now.
Right.
And the thing is, when you are not dependent, back to what you said earlier about the salary, when you're not dependent on that salary, what I'm going to do with this money? Anyway.
Yeah. You're not buying watches.
No.
You're not buying cars.
No.
You'll just buy more property maybe.
That's right. For sure.
But then, you're already buying property. But do you ever feel, Twana, the thing is, because you're in the industry and you've got so much clarity,
right,
the fear doesn't come into play. Because for us, when we're sitting outside, like, there's a famous story where Mark Cuban sold before the dot-com crash.
Okay.
So he sold, and he sold his company and then he invested in Yahoo. But he leveraged it in a way that if the market crashed, he was exiting still with his billions, right? So a lot of people think like, why wouldn't you do it now? What if things go bad? But the fact is you're inside, so you know where it's headed. And even if it goes bad, you're kind of like, I'm the captain of the ship.
Yes.
I'll make it work.
Yeah.
I'll see through the storm.
Yes, and the thing is, when you also have no pressure of shareholders, it's also important.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so when you are, that's another thing is like, if you're needing to raise money to build a product,
right,
that in the past has been a big deal. Now it's getting shifted, right? You can really you can give me an idea. I will build the product and I will launch it for you in 2 months. And I will set a goal that I will make money out of it in 3 months after that. So in 5 months, we build, deployed, and start generating revenue. Now, if you've got a business that does that, why would you sell it at that early stage within year one? You sell it down the line if you want to sell.
Right.
I think it's very important. These are like key executions on, where you see the problem is. And if the market tells you this really fast, it's like if your product, if you're not able to charge customers and they're not paying for your product, it means your product's not good enough.
Right.
And often I had this conversation with another founder recently, and he was like, we're going to launch it for free for 6 months. And then I said, no, why would you do that? You don't believe in your product? Why not make the feature good so then they pay within 14 days?
Right.
If they don't pay, that means there's not enough stickiness to it.
Right.
So
14 days or 30 days?
14 days, 30 days,
Fine.
Depending of the scenario is.
You're tough on 30 days.
Yeah, 30 days is enough. So you need
30 days is too much for you. It has to be 14 days.
Well, I want to make sure that the feature you're giving is not too complicated. It's simple,
right,
solves a specific problem. And that's back to the problem. Number one issue I see with founders is that they think they're solving a problem. That is the number one problem that I've encountered. I'm in discussion like, okay, they want to build this. Okay, what is the problem that we're solving?
Right.
And they find it difficult to answer. And then they often think about a problem that they're having. Okay, do we really solve a problem? And how much are they willing to pay for this problem? Right? So when you start think like that whatever product we're building, it needs to make sure that we need to know what are we charging. And they're like, well, we're going to figure that out later. No, let's figure it out now.
Right.
So we make the functionality really simple. So that's really critical whenever it comes to building startups. I did the same in the food industry, right? So build the food software, similar scenario, right? Where, in the food industry, huge problem, right? So here in Dubai, you go list your restaurant, and once you list it, you now have to pay commission every time they make a payment. Okay, so then you're continuously paying this. So we did a similar approach where each restaurant gets its own app, and that is get deployed to the restaurant. Mm-hmm. That again, it was back into giving back to the restaurant owner, but at the same time through software, helping them out to have their own IP and then be able to replicate this to many, many different chains.
Now you're based in Dubai, but you have offices in the US, Ireland, Dubai, India. Why did you choose Dubai? And you've been here for 5+ years.
5 years.
What are the benefits that you find? Because here's the funny thing and the good thing, right? I was born in Dubai. Okay. So the earlier businesses that came here were more trading businesses. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a great success story for Dubai to have yourself as an entrepreneur, having staff here, that shows that Dubai has substance for to attract somebody like you. Yeah. Tell me about the substance that you're getting back from Dubai, or maybe the challenges you're facing.
Yeah, I think coming to Dubai was, at the company level, was one of the best decisions that we've made.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Yes. Number one will be talent. We
Okay.
can acquire talent at a very, very good level of talent, and we can retain the talent. We can import talent here very well. So let's say, for example, in India, we have a company there. We have people that get hired in the India office. Then after 3 months, 6 months, depending of the role that they're in, they can get transferred over here.
Right.
Now, it's like,
Easy.
Easy.
No visa loopholes, not complicated. Okay.
Same into other regions. We actually have the other way around. People that work in Ireland office, they also come to Dubai. They like
Okay.
it. We also use it for clients, which is very beneficial, right? So we have almost clients here, almost at least every month we have a client here that's visiting.
For fun and business.
Fun and business, when they come, they're like, okay, they like it here. They're
Right.
developers sitting here. So they're like, okay, so if I give them an option between Dublin office or Dubai office, they pick the Dubai
Okay.
office.
Especially in the winter. Dublin.
Exactly.
Oh, so you have the best of both worlds. They can choose another place for
Yes.
winter and then summer. And,
Yes.
Okay.
So for a lot of US clients, they actually like the Dublin office.
Yes.
But now recently we also actually more coming here too. So I think overall talent been really good. In terms of flexibility, easeability of hiring, it's really, really well. And also the type of talent pool. So people in Europe, let's say you've got a really strong senior software engineer.
Right.
It's very difficult to keep that person for 10 years.
Okay.
Or for 7 years, 8 years. People like to move around. And in terms of security, it's also critical. So here people are like, you can't just chop and change jobs. There's a lot more rule regulations.
Right.
So I think overall Dubai for recruitment will be really, really good. Of course, quality of life, all the other benefits that you get, which is really attractive. Of course, they say all the things on taxes and stuff. Ireland is also very good, corporation tax there versus here. Now we have
Right.
9% here. So that's not the biggest factor. I think for depending of your company size, if you are a company with, let's say, annual turnover of, let's say, 100 million plus euros, then yeah, I think you're thinking about taxes more. But if you're a company that is
Right.
making somewhere between 5 million to 10 million, you are in a growth state and you want to be in a place that allows more for that growth. And I think Dubai just adds more fuel to the fire. Now, I think also back to this caveat is like, you don't also want to have too many locations. So like, if you've got too many offices while you're too small, then it's also something to think about. So what I do is very simple. I try to keep offices to a specific size. Like ideally, like in the Dubai office now, we have got 33 software engineers. It's already pushing the limit.
Okay.
My limit.
It's pushing your limit. Yeah.
Pushing my limit. Usually about 30. I don't want to go more than 30.
Okay.
Because I have one person responsible and I have no managers.
Right.
Yeah. No
Okay.
managers. If I need to manage you, that means it's a problem. Right.
Okay.
Every time somebody wants something, I'm like, okay, you make the decision. Imagine you're the CEO of the company. What would you do? They're like, well, I will do this. Okay, then that's fine. Right. When the office gets too big, it gets too political and there's a lot of
Yes.
issues and all these things goes in. So I think keeping office small, somewhere between 15 to 30, it's a nice number. Yeah.
That's very interesting. But also you give your employees ownership in the holding company or the project that they might be working with. How do you make this work financially for you?
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so I can say, hey, you believe in sharing the wealth. That's good. But how does this work out financially for you?
So short answer is I'm building something very big and I want everybody to take a piece of that pie, right? And especially the top 25 that are like, at the top. And what I mean at the top, I don't talk about like senior managers and all that. No, I'm talking about people that are really contributors. So what we do first, we encourage our clients to give us ownerships and in return for discount or let's say investment that we do. And so we encourage that and that's been helpful. And we are, very blessed. We've got some great clients and we're very loyal to them. And that has worked really well. So I've noticed the difference that when I have a software developer that is working on a client project and they get ownership of that project, they are in the
Right.
office way more. They work with a way more care. So I just inform the client, hey, look, if you have a space pool to give ownership back to those core developers, then you're going to get a much higher output. Now, for earlier startups, that's a possibility. For more concrete like enterprises, that is a no. So what we do is within our own company, that we have multiple companies inside that portfolio from all sectors, property, classifieds, procurements, residentials, software, multiple different solutions, products that we have, AI products. And so they get ownership on that pool. And depending on their contribution level, they either get ownership on one company only or the whole chain.
Right.
So often people start with an individual company. So let's say I've got people who own piece of the classified ad website to sell your car or buy your car. And then later on, I see they have a lot of value.
Right.
So now they go into owning the whole chain. And
Right.
this creates a huge loyalty.
And that's been beneficial for you.
Yes, it has been. Yes, you lose a piece of the company, but if you don't give it back to your people, who are you going to give it to? It's
Right.
like, in my view, it's like if you don't give your children, who are you going to give to?
Yeah.
So that's how you should think. As a founder, as an owner, you should think about how do you make others wealthy. Like my circle, one of my top goals this year is to make sure that at least 10 people in my circle, I make sure they make $1 million this year through an activity I'm going to have to them. So activity I'm doing for a client, activity I'm doing for someone personal, that through my engagement, I had an impact for him to make $1 million.
I think you're going to get a lot of job applications as well from this.
Well, we are hiring a lot of jobs, right? So I think we're hiring.
That's good.
So definitely, can I mention that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so go to devsonthehouse.eu/jobs and our own LinkedIn.
We'll put a link in the
Yeah,
description
LinkedIn.
as
Yeah,
well. You don't take a salary yourself. You live off the property investments that you've made, and we'll come to the property part. Was this always the strategy, or did you stumble upon this?
I definitely read quite a lot of books on that department.
Okay.
But this was something that the way my road, like sort of looking back, the way my lifestyle structured kind of got me to that stage. And I realized that how strong I was becoming. I'm like, okay, this helped me when I was in a job because I was not emotional. I was like not stressed out. If I'm having difficulties at work, I would not be stressed out because I know that I can still live and I'm comfortable. It made me more in peace. So then I said, okay, now let's do the same at the company level.
Right.
And the way to do it is simple. Like, you just, if you're building a company, that's why another thing I encourage is like, build your company later down the line, not too early.
You mean scale your company later down the line?
No, if you're 20-year-old, and if you wanna go off have a startup, if you have a startup at your 30, you have much more chances of success.
Okay, so build it when you've got more experience. Is that what you're saying?
When you have more experience.
Okay.
So if you do that, that means you have a long track record in a job, that you save money, and this money is saved. Then when you are in a company building your own company, then you're not financially depending on the company income, which you're not emotional anymore. You're not depending on, my salary is going to be cut. I have no money for X, Y, and Z, so I need to do this. So your decision making is very different, and you are not under pressure. And having a company is a lot of pressure already.
But
Finances.
I think I want to interrupt
Sure.
you because I think you're discounting of a lot of other things that happen to people from their 20s to 30s, right? So first of all, now I'm gonna counter challenge you. Let's see what you come up with.
Right.
Number one, getting a salary at the end of the month. You know what they say? That's the drug that keeps you addicted to that because you're in a comfort zone.
Okay.
And if you do that for 10 years, it's very challenging to go from that to no salary. But then you're going to say, hey, but you're going to counter that by investing in the right properties.
Yes.
Which is what you did, which is you had 3 months, three times your salary before you left that corporate job. Great. But here's the counter. For a lot of people, the 20s to 30s is a time when they're finding themselves. They're possibly getting married.
Right.
They're getting a house. There's all these, they might be having children.
Yeah.
So they might be at 30 at a stage where, there are no savings. So then it becomes even more difficult to say, you know what? I want to start a startup because then you're like, who's going to pay the bills, the house, the children, the education? How would that person do that at that stage? Because all of that's also going to happen because you're saying, well, make sure you save. What if he can't save? Then wouldn't it be better if he took the risk in his 20s, failed a couple of times by his 30, and then know what he's doing by his 30?
I think there's no right and wrong. Both will lead to a slightly different path. I've seen more than 80% of every startup that we've built for clients that didn't succeed in the early days before what this shift that we made like in the last number of years.
Which is to invest in them.
To invest in them and make sure they don't fail.
Right.
Because at the beginning, we were not doing this.
Okay.
At the beginning, we were just like, okay, here's the development. All right, go ahead and build that. And then they will fail, run out of money, and they're out. And these are smart people. So you got to think about if you're doing a startup, they do say, you maybe have 1% chance of success. That is true. It comes from someone that I've seen this. That is 100% true. Okay.
Right.
So
99 versus 1%.
Absolutely. Maybe the ratio a bit more, to be
Right,
honest.
okay.
Maybe less than 1%.
Okay.
So therefore, you want to use your early ages to, if I was to choose that, or what's the alternative? Well, the alternative is you save money, and let's assume you're able to save money, then buy a property or some sort of asset that gives you reoccurring revenue.
Right.
And then just build on that for a number of years. That is a way more chances of success. You've got the little 1% or 0.5% that could, there's crazy stories, but in reality is that you take that route is a lot safer.
Right.
And then you've got enough saving. Now you have a good rental portfolio, number of properties. Okay, now go off and leave your job. And I would also say don't leave your job fully. A lot of job companies have no problem. If they're like a good management, they would have no problem. Why would you leave your job? That's another thing. You could have your job and build your startup.
Hold on. The job's job is to keep you jobified.
Right.
Which is why, Twana, they will work you to the bone unless you're in a country like France where like you can actually switch off. So the problem is the job's job is to keep you jobified, which means that by the time you switch off, you have nothing else. Right. So then there's that 1% that has that extra zest and energy to wake up at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. How would you do that? Like, I get your point.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, it's very relevant.
Right.
But now I'm asking on their behalf.
Right.
My job, I'm talking from their
Yes.
perspective. My job, my manager takes everything out of me.
Right.
By the time I go home, there's nothing left except Netflix, dinner,
Yeah.
and maybe sleep and go back into the wheel the next day,
Yeah.
the hamster wheel.
Yeah. So you need to understand the manager's job is to make sure that maximize the efficiency to squeeze every ounce of energy, through the work that you do so you're effective.
Right.
But then your job is to maintain the energy and have it so then you have the weekend. I would definitely say that if you're in a normal job, normal working, you have the weekend. You've got 2 days. You've got before work. Working hours are like 8 hours, 9 hours. You still have 2 hours in the day. So you could definitely have enough space to build the foundation. That doesn't mean you go off like build a full-fledged business, but you could definitely, with today's modern AI capabilities we have at hand, you could do so much in those 20 hours you have. So I would say I would definitely do that. And I would also encourage to talk to your boss about that. Like a lot of companies wouldn't have a problem. In our company, we have no problem. If this happened multiple times, where somebody says, I want to open my own company. I said, great. Tell me, what do you want to do? I'm going to invest in your company.
Yeah.
So if I believe in this idea, I'm going to invest in this company. Now, not every company will have this attitude. Other companies will shut it down. They may not accept that. But I think for majority of, if you walk into a leader and says, hey, look, I want to do my own company and this is what I want to do, I think they will be supportive. And you only find out by asking.
You had this as a strategy, and today you're sitting, bless you, with multiple properties across many different countries. Mm-hmm. And you're quite active as an investor as well. How do you identify which markets you're going in when you're doing property investments?
Yeah.
Are you looking at some kind of specific strategy, or because you're based in these countries anyways? Yeah. Because you're traveling and working.
So one of the things which I have done, and I'm continuously doing this, I don't try to be expert in the whole of even like Dubai. I don't understand Dubai. I'm here 5 years. I have multiple properties here, but like no matter what, I don't try to be expert. I'm like, okay, I understand one location, one area, let's say Dubai Creek Harbor, or let's say Business Bay or Shoba Harland. And if I see that this is good, I don't diversify. Agents all the time tell me like, hey, you should have here. I said, no, I don't understand it over there. I understand this. And so I will buy more here. Let me buy 5, 6, 7, 10, 15. Then I will go to the next location, right?
Makes sense.
Now, so I will focus on one city and then one area. And that's what I have done. I've done this the same repeat. In Ireland, the same. In the US, I've done the same. Other countries that I've done the same. Where I was just trying to educate myself by having, one more thing, by paying for specialized knowledge. That's one thing. Don't be afraid to pay for specialized knowledge. For example, you know so much about in this space. If I could have your technical capability to give me that insight, that's a huge deal.
Correct. Yeah.
So I would try to capitalize on this. But at the end of the day, you know best what is your capabilities and focus on one area at a time and purchase bunch in that area, then pivot to the next location.
So you go in, identify areas, and then build yourself as a subject matter expert in that area as best as you can.
Yes.
By buying information, knowledge, experience, and then you stay with that.
Yes.
Right? And you don't just go pivot very fast.
Yes.
Because obviously, agents are going to try and give you this, and all of Dubai is great, and bless them all. Let's talk about your own week-to-week accountability. Like we've discussed this before. You hold yourself very accountable, and you audit yourself every week.
Yes.
What does that look like, in your words, quickly, so that we can learn something from that also?
Sure. I think having people that you mentor is critical. So in Dubai, I think for most, let's say, people, as you rise up to the top, temptations is probably one of the most strongest thing that you have to face.
Right.
And that's in everything, right? You're going to buy a car, there's nicer car. Buying a home, there's a bigger home. There's everything, too much of everything, right? So accountability is like, how do you have accountability if you are completely, you can do what you want, there's no one looking. And so I think having people that you are mentoring, that continue supporting, and that's really critical. Now, once you have that, you want to have to, whatever you're preaching by helping others, you're going to apply it yourself. So if you want to have a really great week, teach others. My professor, when I was in university, he was like, hey, listen, you need to do tutoring. And I said, why? He's like, because you want to be a master at programming, why don't you do tutoring? I said, okay. So then this was something that I learned is like, hey, listen, I got to teach. When you're teaching something and when you're advising someone, you're going to do it really well. So in the week to week, what works really well, as I mentioned earlier, is very important that you stay accountable on the things that you plan. You don't wake up the day without knowing what you're going to do, for that day. The previous night, you need to make sure you plan out what's the next day. Now, things will come up throughout the day, for sure. But it's very important that you plan the next day ahead and then the week. And then you just circle that through, and there's a really good feeling when you are sticking to your to-do list. And for me, even managing so many different companies, properties, countries, problems. I mean, I open my phone in the morning. Now, there's another rule. I don't touch my phone, the first minimum 10 minutes. And sometimes I try to extend it to 30 minutes. But the first 10 minutes, do not touch your phone. And I have a habit before that I've kind of, that I do it before has happened. And then I was like course correct. And the psychological effect have it to you is huge. Yeah. So then when you wake up, I've got like a couple of hundred emails and Slack messages. So that is the way to control it is very simple, is making sure, of course, having the right people in your company that's helping. But at the same time, very, very important is whatever you do, you need to be an example to others. And then if you teach others to have an effective day, an effective week, you got to do the same. So the simple rule is, can you help somebody else? If you're in a job, can you help somebody that's 5 years younger than you? And if you can mentor them and help them out, you're going to be a much better person.
How many fires are you putting out in a week?
How many fires?
Problems, work problems, are you putting out any now? Or have you delegated successfully and things rarely come up to you?
I would say I'm solving a lot of problems, not fires, because I think when you have the right systems in place, I don't see them as fires. I see them as problems that I'm solving. So on average, every day for me, I have somewhere between 13 to 20 meetings every day. Every day.
13
right?
to 20.
Every day, yes. And now I
Wow.
truncate them, right? So like 15
15,
minutes,
yeah.
20 minutes. But then also in the meeting itself, very effective before the meeting. If somebody comes into a meeting and is unprepared, unacceptable.
Right.
Unacceptable.
You'll just end it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
2 minutes.
Yes, yes.
And fire them.
No, not fire them. I think if you're a good
I'm
leader,
joking.
you shouldn't be needing
Yeah,
to
I'm
fire
joking,
people. But sometimes, of course, you can have this good effect, and people just becomes better. So then, with these modern date is like we can sell a lot of voice messages. I like voice messages
Right.
quite effectively.
Okay.
So yeah, and then the to-do items every day. Like I look at the to-do items, eat the frog. Everybody read this book, I'm
Yeah.
sure. Go with what is the most important. And so I do that. I apply this. Now people say this, I do this. I've been doing this for more than 10 years.
Right.
And that's the difference. Making sure that you're consistent.
You're operating at a very elite level of entrepreneurship. But like, you know how athletes operate at a very elite level? You're operating at an elite level of entrepreneurship, which is very intense. Have you ever crashed or burnt out?
Yeah, I think I have burnt out, like where things were some days. What I do to mitigate that, I train in this gym, is men only gym, and they have a beautiful sauna. So I'll just go there and I will just go in the sauna,
Okay.
So that's been really helpful. Alcohol is not good, so I
Okay.
don't drink.
Okay.
So I used to drink. I cut that out. I used to like wine.
Okay.
That's not good, and I don't drink. And that has been probably another highlight, I would say, really good thing people should definitely try. It's a poison that we put in our stomach. I've never smoked, so I don't do anything like that. That all things has been helpful, right? So I think these things will maintain your energy. Also running, fitness. Like we brought this rule to the company where we get gym membership paid for every person, and the first hour of the day is fitness. But your condition is to get no work for 1 hour every day. You need to train 4 times a week.
Okay.
If you don't train 4 times a week, then you go back to work and your gym membership is canceled.
Okay.
That's the rule. And the people that are training, some people still don't train.
Okay. So they get the gym membership canceled?
They get it, of course. Yeah, 100%.
Wow. Very interesting. Okay. When you're growing your company, obviously you've had a journey, but what would you say to other people who are just starting out? Like the 3 top things in your mind that, hey guys, just focus on this.
So,
Should they quit their job? Should
yeah.
they,
If you're growing your company, I think it's very important that you set your day in a way that allows you for work on the mission and grow the company. So it's very easy to get so stuck in that you forget about how to grow business development, meeting people and all that. So one thing you could do, very simple technique, like break your day in a way that, let's say you go in the office early or go to work, then come out from that state of work to another state. You're still working, but in a different location. Could be in a different, maybe from home, maybe in a different office, maybe from a cafe, and then boost up, that will change it up, and then go back to that state. So now you break the day. So people ask, like, I'm on the computer at least 12 hours plus every day, right? 6 days a week, minimum. So, but I don't feel like it. I really don't.
Because you're breaking it up.
I break it
You're going
up.
to the gym.
Yes.
You're doing.
Yes. Break out the day the way that works for you. You're the CEO. Make your day as best as you can make it for yourself. And then also give others the same flexibility. So if somebody wants to go to the gym in the middle of the day, your team members, don't stop them. Let them do it. Like, I want them to be the most performance in the day. I say, okay, you train what you want, but you got to train today.
Right.
In the mornings, evening, afternoons, you break it out. You're the boss. You're in charge. If you give people that they're completely in charge, you'll see miracles. But if you're afraid to do that because you think that they are not capable, that means that they're not the right person, or you're not the right leader. So you need to give them that thing and they will do it. And you'll be so surprised. People are good. You just need to treat them good.
I heard this from a woman entrepreneur a few months ago, and she said, her company grew when she moved herself out of it, which means not moved herself out as in, but she said she realized that her ego was holding the company back in terms of she liked everything coming to her. And then she realized that, the less that things came to her, the more the company could actually grow in beyond what she could actually imagine. Is that true for you as well?
I'm trying to do that more, but at the same time, I'm enjoying the process on being part of it. I do have a mentor who's like maybe 10x growth size of my company, also similar background, and he's very expensive.
Okay.
And I'm paying him for that. And that's one of his things, like, Twana, you need to remove yourself. Twana, you need to remove yourself.
Can you mention how much you paid, if it's not very confidential?
It's $12,000 a month.
Yeah. So this is something that people need to learn.
Yeah.
Is people would like to have $12 million, but they're not willing to pay $12,000 for the right kind of mentorship.
Yes.
But I know, I speak from experience, that $12,000 probably makes you millions of dollars.
It makes sense at the stage that I'm in today.
Yeah.
But Twana 10 years ago, no.
Sorry to interrupt
Yeah.
you. But at that time, you would have paid $1,200.
That's right.
You should have paid $1,200.
That's true.
Yes, I agree. You wouldn't pay $12,000 at that stage. But $1,200, which would have been a lot of money perhaps for you at that time.
Yeah, yeah. So what you could do at the company level, at the early stage, you could also ask peers. Like if you see someone that's smarter than you see someone, let's say if you're in sales, you see someone that's killing it in sales, go out and try to see, can they be your mentor? And find people that are like multiple layer above you. Or your clients.
Yes.
Your clients are like the best because, talking about your clients, people always talk about that I make so much money. No, it's who you have served. They're the result of your money wealth that you generated. So who you served your company really well if you're an employee. If you're a leader, who are your clients? You're serving your clients. And as long as you served your clients, they're the one that give you the money.
Yeah.
So focus on that, I think really critical. And that's been like the builder mindset, which what we have in our company. And that's been very helpful.
Let's pick your brain on Dubai property.
Okay.
Because, with multiple properties across Dubai,
Yes.
you're like an expert as well. If somebody was buying their first property today and they came to you,
Right.
what advice would you give them? Where would you tell them to buy first?
Yeah. So in our company, we have a Slack channel.
Right.
Whoever wants to buy, and we share ideas and thoughts inside. What about budget? So let's say how much budget? Give me an example.
So that's the curveball. I
Right.
didn't give it to you,
Right.
but that's the right first question. Let's
you.
say $1 million dirhams.
Million dirhams. So on $1 million dirhams, I would look for a place like, for $1 million dirhams.
Let's say $1 million to $2 million.
Million to
Let's
2
be
million.
a little bit bigger.
Okay, $1 million to 2 million. Then I would say Shoba Harland area has been helpful. Return ROI there is so much better from experience looking. Business Bay could also be interesting, but you got to be careful from what I've learned, because you could have one building that is, if it's on short-term rental, that making, let's say, 400 dirhams per night, another one might be making 700, and the person that's booking that property
Right.
in Spain or in the UK, he doesn't know. He just put Business Bay, and then he's like, okay, well, this is a lot cheaper. So competition there, it's more difficult. Where in places like Shoba Harland, Dubai Creek Harbor, those locations, there's more community. Prices are kind of similar range. I would try to find a place that I can get the keys as soon as possible. Because
Right.
my strategy is get in quickly, rent it out, so then you have cash flow, right? So I would, the secondary market has also been helpful. For me, all of my properties that I purchased, I pay them below than what they pay. Below OP, you guys call it
Right.
here?
Yeah,
so
yeah, original
every property
price.
I bought it below OP.
Right. Okay.
So that was been good, because that means somebody paid it and I actually bought it cheaper than they paid.
Right.
Because they're like distressed. Some people, like, they bought it and they couldn't pay, or something happened. So I think if you're in this luxury state where you can buy, execute fast, then really great. You could definitely think about that.
So
I'd
you're
say
sitting with cash, right?
yes. And then where can you add value? That's another thing where I see missing in Dubai. People
Yeah.
do this in Europe all the time, but in Dubai I don't see it done as much. We are people, even myself included, too lazy when it comes to adding value in that space. So for example, let's say properties that I purchased in the US, in Chicago, or let's say in Ireland, I would say, okay, I get really creative about adding this room, adding another granny flat, adding this, adding stuff that's in their place, right? So then adds more value, upgrade the kitchen, add another bathroom, which then all adds up when you're renting the place. Now in Dubai, we're not doing this. We're getting the place, and then putting furniture, and then putting it for rent.
That's the level of value that we're adding.
That's like, what about new floor? What about separating out, converting the living room into another bedroom? Now
Right.
suddenly you can put 2-3 software developers there.
Right.
What about like you are making it experience well for subletting within there, right?
Right, yeah.
So people don't do that here, and I think it's a missing gap where I don't have the time to do it personally, so I don't do this. But I think that's an area that I think it needs more attention.
So to boil it down, that was good advice, by the way.
Okay.
To boil it down, you would look at areas that you've mentioned, but be careful about not going into an area where there's too much extreme competition, because the building quality differs so much. So that guy can offer 400 dirhams per night, whereas you're going to be stuck at 700 dirhams per night because of what you paid for it.
Yes.
But the outside guy doesn't know Business Bay has that difference until he comes and experiences it.
Yes.
So you go to a homogeneous area.
Yes.
So you identified a few. Then you said you would, well, for new buyers, sometimes buying distress might not be a luxury because they might not have all that cash. So that's fine. They can skip that. They can do that in their second, third priority. But then the other thing is, you said, where can you add value?
Yeah.
So if you can actually add more value to a property beyond just adding furniture, that is what you're encouraging.
Yes.
How would you add value in an apartment in Creek Harbor? Let's say you bought a 2-bedroom.
Yes.
And furniture is one way.
Yeah.
The thing is pretty new inside, so you can't really refurbish it. How would you add more value coming from your experience of 40 plus properties?
Yeah. Let's say, for example, floor. A lot of the properties, what I see is the floor, right? The floor is, it's just not like, if you improve the floor makes a big difference.
Okay.
The kitchen, right? We could make it different. I would then also to see, can that be separated? Can I create like a room partition in there?
Right.
You know, some of those living rooms are quite large.
Okay.
These are some ways I can get creative. And then the bathroom. So the bathroom is, they have come with these old classic bathtubs.
Right.
Everybody hates them.
Yeah.
I don't like them.
People want a rain shower.
Yes. So just that doesn't cost that much, right?
Okay.
So these are few things. Now you stand out. Suddenly, one that's renting for, let's say, a 2-bedroom renting for 150, you can charge 200,000.
Right.
Right. And so now you're like, okay, you're in a different league.
175. But at least 25,000 more.
Yes. Yeah. So, but also the more important is, you also get a better quality tenant. Like one of my experiences,
Right.
I always look for locations that is not too low and not too high, somewhere in the middle. Somewhere in the middle. One more thing about mastering and knowing one area, having multiple properties in the same area, other great benefit is that you have a cleaner perhaps, or maybe you have a company helps. They all run beside each other. When people coming to rent, you can also bounce them around.
Right.
That has been very helpful, where somebody like, well, I booked this one, okay, but this one's gone, but I've got another one right beside it.
Right.
So that's a really good point, which can help. And people just feels, because like these communities really help because you've got multiple properties in the same community.
What's next for you? What's the vision for the next 10 years?
The vision
For the
is
business empire for yourself?
yeah. So
Or the ultimate vision?
yeah, I was in
The
Sweden.
next 50 years?
Yeah, I was in Sweden, and I see this more and more often, without mentioning this hotel chain. And I really like this concept, where basically you've got a apartment complex, ground floor, you have a set of office. So I would make basically offices, a space for holding maybe somewhere around 100 people.
Right.
Office, and then that will be for our company. And then up, there will be all mixed residential and pretty much like a mini hotel that you can rent it out.
Okay.
So somewhere around 12 to 24 stories high, boutique size of,
Right.
of size of a building. That will be the next project that I will be interested in. Yeah,
Where?
it has to be within somewhere within close to metro station.
Right.
Somewhere that is not so risky. Not too far out.
Which city? Which country? Or it's secret for now?
No, it will be in Dubai.
Okay.
100%.
All right. that sounds
100%.
good.
There's definitely Dubai. That's for sure.
Okay. Look, I think we're gonna have to definitely continue this conversation. There's a lot of stuff that we've left untouched, alhamdulillah. But I'm very happy that we did that. And I'm glad that you gave us this time. We've known each other for a while, and as you're building your property portfolio, I'm super happy that you're getting a lot of value out of Dubai.
Yeah.
So that shows to people internationally that Dubai, while we talked about property, it's not just about real estate. There's a lot of developers, founders who are actually setting base up in Dubai.
Yeah.
So maybe there'll be more conversations, but I want to take a quick moment to thank you for taking the time out, sharing the experience with us, with the audience. There's a lot of learning, and I want to continue.
Yeah.
I want to continue the conversation, and I want to thank you very much.
Thank you, man.
All right, thanks a lot.